I got a little something here from Chanel. It's a little bag. It's a small bag, and that's because I bought a parfum recently, and they gave me this. This is the Bleu De Chanel L'EXCLUSIF, which is the new one that just came out. I haven't actually sprayed this one because I already had tried it before it actually came out, and I already had been given a carded sample of it, like the 1.5 ml or whatever it's in there, and I'd already given it a wearing, and I already posted about it on my Instagram. But of course, I'm not going to give, unmarinated thoughts on the topic of something that I don't really know too much about, because I've never been a fan of the Bleu De Chanel line. The original Eau de Toilette, when it came out, I smelled it, I went, oh, it smells great. And then I went, oh my God, that's disgusting, because the incense that was in the EDT was just horrific to my nose. I know a lot of people liked it. And then the Eau de Parfum came out, and I thought, that's a bit smoother disgustingness. And then the Parfum came out, and I thought, that's a bit different. Still a bit yuck, but different. I didn't give it too much thought after that. Well, I wore this a few times, and let's see, I tested it, I wore it, I got a sample, I gave it a full wearing, I came back to the department store and I wore it again. And if it wasn't for the $385 for a bottle, I perhaps would have bought it. But then my friend said, oh, I've got a bottle of it. You can decant some if you like. Actually, decant as much of it as you need. And I did. I decanted 10 mils. This is a 10 ml bottle. I'd like to show you the 10 ml bottle, and I'd like to show you how empty it is, because it is empty because I emptied it, not by accident, on purpose, because it just seemed to be getting better and better every time I wore it. If this isn't the best incarnation of Bleu De Chanel, then you're right, because it isn't, because it's less Bleu De Chanel than the original Bleu De Chanel was trying to achieve. It could be just basically that the crowd that Bleu De Chanel is attracted to, and the repeat purchasers, they've grown up, they're growing up. And it's a balance between trying to do something that aligns to the maturing taste of that crowd versus not trying to be too different so as to alienate them. And as always, Chanel does a really good job of keeping its crowd. You don't want to do anything too drastic so as it's not recognizable, but at the same time, you don't want to stay still, because staying still is akin to falling backwards whilst everyone around you goes forwards and progresses. So it looks like you're going backwards even though you haven't moved. And in comes L'Exclusif. Honestly, I think if they had put this in a Les Exclusifs bottle and charged less for it, it would have been an absolute smash. I think so. And I think the reception has been lukewarm purely because of the fact that it contains the title Bleu De Chanel. People have expectations. People maybe were expecting something like a Dior Homme Parfum, the original, to flank, because that was like, holy shit, that is awesome in its own right. It's a huge step up into niche territory without alienating its roots, right? And that's why you had the progression of people who started with Dior Homme and absolutely loved Dior Homme Parfum. Much like you have the progression of people who started with Bleu De Chanel Eau de Toilette, and maybe now they will like the Les Exclusif. However, the Les Exclusif, L'Exclusif is not too far of a departure from Bleu De Chanel Parfum. That probably means a lot of people who have the Parfum will stick with the Parfum and not get this. And a lot of people who have finished the Parfum will just repurchase the Parfum because it's hella cheaper for not too much of a difference. The only difference that I can tell is that this thing, the L'Exclusif, is just executed much better. It is way more deeper. To me, it seems like it lasts a long time. The labdanum, or amber, whatever people are calling it, and the way that it tempers, it hides or it masks or facades the Bleu de Chanel DNA that's in the base of it. It's funny because the base notes actually hit you at the top. The Bleu de Chanel DNA is in the background of it, and you get wafts of it in the beginning. Like when I first sprayed this on and smelled it, and I went, it smells like there's oud in here. The wood with the labdanum mixed in together. I swear I was like, I can't smell any of the traditional Bleu de Chanel DNA in here. But as it wore on and it was radiating off my hand, I could smell, I was like, ah, yeah, there it is, there's Bleu de Chanel. But it's buried. It's buried underneath what is essentially a really thick, goopy, resinous concoction of amber and woody notes and labdanum. And I thought, this could work. This could work. I thought initially it was way too sweet for me, but it was an addictive sweet. Like I do not gravitate towards sweet smells, especially in the last 10 years or so. I've been very, very standoffish with sort of sweeter sort of smells. This is just right. And I got to hand it to Chanel. They have this formula, and they don't break the formula. And it's not formulaic, it is predictable. And I think that's what people enjoy, and that's what people like, and that's what people expect from a Bleu de Chanel. I would say people, for the most part, for a consumable good as Bleu de Chanel is, because it's not really a piece of art, it's not like an arty piece trying to evoke imagery of like sunsets over the Caribbean coastline or some shit like that. It's not trying to do that. Bleu de Chanel it's a fragrance. You will wear it for pretty much any occasion. You can go to the office, you can go out, you can go to the shops, whatever, right? And you can wear Bleu de Chanel. And I think if you equate this to the reason why people, when they travel to other countries, still go and eat at like internationally known fast food chains. Like I was in Japan last year, and I saw, we were in like a really nice area, nice part of the town, away from the Tokyo city. Great places to eat everywhere. Lots of great cuisine in Japan. And I saw a foreign family, an American family, and they had just walked out of the KFC, and they were like going, oh yeah, that was good. Satisfaction on their faces, of not really satisfaction, but like appeasement, not disappointment. And I think the best way to put that is people want to consistently get a product or a service that is consistently not shit. Because if they took a chance on something unknown, then there's a small chance that they would absolutely love it, and a large chance that they would be like, we made a mistake. We should have gone to the KFC. We should have gone to McDonald's. And so that's why people go to these establishments when they are out of their known area, is because they are consistent at being not shit. Yes, they are shit in comparison to actual really good stuff. Yes, they are shit, but they're consistent in an area where you don't know what everything else is. You know what that is, and you know that is going to be consistently not shit. You know what it's going to taste like, and you know what it's going to make you feel like. It's going to fill you up for a little bit. And that's what this is. It's consistently not shit. Is it going to blow your mind? Probably not. Are you going to like it? You probably are. You probably are. Even if you're a niche snob, you will probably like this. Even if you're used to the eau de toilette, you'll probably like this. The birds disagree with me. Or maybe they agree with me. That's my take on Bleu de Chanel L'EXCLUSIF. I really like it. What can I say? Have I turned into someone who appreciates consistently not shit stuff? I guess. I also still want to explore into stuff that's really, really weird and risque. And when I initially went to the Chanel boutique to ask for this, the girl said that she had smelled it and that it smelled like a combination of Coromandel and Le Lion. And I went, if it does smell like that, I will love it and hate it at the same time because I love Coromandel. I do not like Le Lion. And a lot of people think in the This Perfume Reminds Me Of section that the Bleu De Chanel L'EXCLUSIF smells like Le Lion. It doesn't fucking smell like Le Lion. You've got rocks in your brain and up your nose if you think it smells like Le Lion. Just because they share a note of labdanum doesn't really mean that everything, like it's basically like, oh, this perfume's got pineapple in it, therefore it's gonna smell like Aventus. I don't fucking think so. So whoever's looking at that, totally not true. And whoever's thinking that it does smell like Le Lion, I wish I could smell what you smell when you smell Le Lion. Some people absolutely love Le Lion. I don't like it. But I do like Bleu De Chanel L'EXCLUSIF. I think if you get a good deal on it, which you hardly ever do with Chanel's because they don't actually do discounters a lot. Did I get him? Nope. Got him. There you go. At one with nature. Now it's at one with the afterlife. Oh yeah, there's somebody here that says, smells like Le Lion, not much Bleu de Chanel here. The labdanum is really the star here, along with ambery notes. I wish I could smell what you're smelling here, buddy, but it does not smell like Le Lion. I've gone through 25 mils of Le Lion, trying to like it because everybody else says it's so great. Even people I respect and know who tell me that I've got rocks in my head if I don't like Le Lion. That's why I tried so hard to like it. I just cannot, for the life of me, turn my dislike into a like. I'm not even on the fence with Le Lion. I dislike it. And it's just my taste. It's just my taste. That's all it is. The only thing that's preventing me from buying my own bottle is the price. Because at $385, and I think that's for a 100 ml here in Australia, $385 for 100 ml. What's that in American dollars? That's $255 US for 100 ml here in Australia. It's actually more expensive than buying at retail a 200 ml bottle of a Les Exclusifs, which I would much rather have. I would much rather get a 200 ml of Coromandel or 1957 or shit, even like Boy or Jersey. There's so many that are so good in that lineup. 31 Rue Cambon is good as well. Belle Respira, I like Belle Respira as well. Yeah, Sycamore and Le Lion I don't like. Gardenia is another one. So I would definitely go for the Les Exclusifs over the Bleu de Chanel. I don't know how and why they priced it like that, but they priced it like that. So if I get a good deal from somewhere, then perhaps I will get a bottle of this because it's just so damn easy, addictive, and lovely to wear. And if I wasn't wearing other shit, I would wear it today, but I think I might save this one for when I head to the office next, because it just seems like a really nice office wear on a cooler day. And there you have it. That's my thoughts on the L'Exclusive. One more thing is that if you don't buy it now and wait and buy it later, there may be, as there usually is, discussions of the second batch. And so first batch L'Exclusives may garner more praise. It could just be because they've had more time to mature and age and sort of develop, and so they'll smell nicer as time goes by. Who knows? We might see the rating for it increase from where it is now, because at the moment it's not rated very highly on Fragrantica. It's actually a 4. It's actually a 4 out of 5, which is not that great. It's not that great. I mean, compare it to the actual Parfum, which came before it. And that's a 4.44 out of 5 with a ton more votes. So it definitely did not hit the mark. And I'd say that is mainly because of like pricing, I would say. It's got to be because of pricing. How much is the EDP? Yeah, it's like $110 cheaper to get the Parfum at retail. And it's $100 cheaper to get the Eau de Parfum 150 ml bottle. So make of that what you will. People who want to use this as a utility They want to use this, they want to use it. It's not like an artistic piece, it's a consumable good. They also care about value for money, because the Bleu de Chanel is not sort of being exclusive. It's not exclusive to have Bleu de Chanel. It's not a limited batch. It's not like an amouage. It's not like a $500-600 bottle. It's close, but it's not an exclusive thing. It's a mass-produced consumable good. And as such, people want to consume it and use it. And when you want to use it, you want a little bit of value for the money that you put down. And if there's very little difference to you because you're not an aficionado, that's probably a good word, right? Or a sommelier of fragrance, then you're looking for value. So if I'm looking at it, if I'm comparing the Eau de Parfum, for example, to the L'Exclusive, and I think to myself, ooh, slight difference in smell, and there's a slight difference in performance, and the bottle, well, it's a little bit more square on the L'Exclusive, but I think that if I can spend $100 less, I can spend $100 less, and I can get a fragrance that is more easily wearable in more occasions and get another 50 mil, because it's 150 mil Eau de Parfum is a $100 cheaper than the L'Exclusive for something that's slightly different, but still the same, then I would go for that. Like I said before, the Bleu de Chanel Parfum is rated 4.44 with 8,000 votes. Well, the Eau de Parfum is rated 4.43 with 18,000 votes, whilst the L'Exclusive is a 4 and with very few votes because it just came out. But you can see what people prefer. I would probably say that it would have been better if they had moved this to the Les Exclusives line instead. I think so. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Bleu de Chanel L'Exclusive. Like I said, I really like it. It's probably the one that I would have, but I don't. And I probably won't unless it's an absolute steal and I'm bored, something like that. Because I would always find something else to wear. And look, the other reason why this 10 mil is empty is because I'm moving away. I have packed all of my fragrances into boxes and I do not have access to them except for the few bottles that I've left out. And so I've got no choice other than to wear what's within reach. And that probably explains why I went through so much of the Bleu de Chanel in such little time. So there you go. Looking forward to being out of the garage and probably into my own room with a full flex wall behind me, fully backlit flex wall that you flex in front of, you know, like your whole collection and shit behind you. I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret that setup, but hey, you got to try these things at least once in your life. So there you have it. That's my probably too lengthy of a take on Bleu de Chanel and other things, and probably well long overdue because I haven't really talked about Bleu de Chanel ever in this much detail. And as always, thanks for watching.